Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. We're going to be going on into a game between Radical Online Extremists, RoX.KIS, going up against Virtus Pro here in this best of 3 series. This is game 2 here, and we do have both myself, Blaze, and as you can see on screen, Vic Ramond here. He's not going to be delayed out, so how's it going, man?
It's going great. The people I was having a daytime meeting with completely flaked on me, so I can get this entire draft, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah. So the last game, really interesting. We had double black holes. They were the best black holes that we've seen, but nevertheless creating presence in the fight. And then from there, Gyrocopter carrying it away against what we could technically call a quad core lineup. So taking it late game past 55 minutes, you don't see it often, but in this situation, really nicely played by them. But yeah, Virtus Pro really needs to find something to answer back with, because as I mentioned just a few moments ago on stream, they are currently ranked 5th out of the playoffs, going only to the top four teams. So if they want to get into the playoff bubble, they really need to try to take this match or their next one, otherwise there's no chance at all. So
I feel like VP could have won that game if they just dialed down the drafting cleverness like 10%. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying dial it down all the way. I'm not anti-fun. I think your drafts should be fun and clever and unusual. But maybe they were just like 10% too fun and clever and unusual. And I'm looking towards the Moronic here. Like, the Moonlight Shadows early on were good, but then RoX just sort of got a gem, and suddenly they weren't as good. And then after that, KSI just couldn't find it. But I think VP, if they just run a even slightly more traditional, it doesn't have to be all the way traditional, but just slightly more, they're still favorites. I mean, VP, one of the absolute strongest Western teams right now. I wouldn't say they're particularly on a hot streak or a cold streak. They're doing very well. Sort of when VP's average performance right now is basically like enough to put them in the top 3 or so of Western teams. So all they need to do is just sort of, I think, play fair and just try to overwhelm RoX. I mean, RoX are doing fantastic, so Buzz is perfect, very good game there, managing to just have solid farming fundamentals, as well as knowing when to stay in and when to keep out of sort of team fights. And Solo also, who you accidentally called YOLO, which I actually thought was incredibly apropos, Blaze. It was a great slip of the tongue, because he had a very YOLO game, especially before they got the blink on bread. Sorry.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, definitely. So getting that kind of initiation, you kind of have to go a little bit balls deep there, and they definitely did. Most certainly went in with no regard for personal safety. They just wanted to get the kills, and they had a lot of potential there. So.
Ooh, VP locking up the Batrider. So that, not only one of the strongest heroes in the pool, you can see RoX, again, they don't like playing Darkseer that much. We talked about this in the first game. And they don't like when VP gets it, so they're just keeping it off the table. And what that means is you have Batrider, Nyx Assassin, Magnus, all that good stuff. This is such a gimme. I can just say these names. Being a commentator for early drafts is so freaking easy these days, Blaze. Lifestealer, too. We might see Lifestealer. I'm going to go ahead and postulate that we may see a Lifestealer.
Yeah, I mean, it's not been banned out. It's something that, although they give a lot of respect to as a carry, it's not something that they're willing to ban out when you have heroes like the Lone Druid that could be picked up, the Keeper of the Light, the Nyx, all these very powerful heroes, and yeah, still providing a lot of respect to the Darkseer that could be picked up by KSI. So in that sense, now we do see Bat and Nyx. Great potential for them to have a mid matchup 1 versus 1, but also having some alternates if they want to go for Batrider in the jungle or Nyx Assassin on support. Not expected in this situation, but it is possible. And yeah, the Lifestealer adding in a lot of potential here as well.
One of the things that makes Batrider and Nyx such powerful heroes is the fact that picking them doesn't pigeonhole you into a draft. Like, it's not like even the Magnus first pick is like, well, they're probably going to run that Magnus mid. Like, and that's knowledge is power in the draft. Like, it really is. That's a cliche, but it's also true. Like, knowing how the opponent is going to lane, it substantially improves how you can draft. And Batrider, the fact that he can go mid or jungle, or even a solo safe, no problem. The fact that Nyx Assassin can go mid or can support, these are pretty strong things. Nyx actually, he's not the strongest of mids, but particularly when the other team is threatening Batrider mid, that makes the Nyx Assassin mid more of a possibility, because he does trade okay with Batrider. I actually like this Shadow Demon pick. Again, they're sort of playing their cards close to the vest. They're like, oh, you want Lifestealer? We'll immediately respond with that. If you want Gyro, we'll respond with the Lifestealer, and vice versa.
Yeah, so they're going to be able to pick that up, and yeah, it's kind of a I don't think that the enemy team is baiting the other to pick up Lifestealer, but they're certainly prepared for it. There's certainly a situation where if you want to go for it, they have the tools to deal with it here. But even more so here, interesting pickup here with the Bane, because the way they could have run it, if they had the Nyx in the mid, Shadow Demon and Bane could have technically been picked together. But in this situation, Virtus Pro wants to have that on their side of the table. They want that kind of initiation, and also it screws over any kind of BKB type carry, because you got the Lasso, you've got the Fiend's Grip and Feeble, all of that really, really difficult to deal with as a BKB carry, and so RoX are going to be more and more limited as far as what options they have to go for their number 1 slot.
I love this Bane third, because there was absolutely no way he would make it through ban phase 2. And it also pressures, again, in terms of drafting pressures, like in terms of putting the pressure on the other team, taking Bane means that they kind of have to have more than one core, right? Because if they just take Gyrocopter just straight up, he probably actually won't make it through this ban phase. But let's say they did take Gyrocopter. If Gyrocopter is the thing you're primarily relying on, the combination of Batrider and Bane is going to neuter him for just an enormous section of the game. Like, it's just going to be so difficult for him to stay up. Bane, in general, is the support that you want when you think the other team is going, like, 4 Protect 1, or what have you. And that is what RoX played in the first game, more or less. I mean, it was always about getting that Gyrocopter farm. So Bane, good response to that, and you see RoX.KIS immediately take action, picking up that Nature's Prophet, who, depending on his farm, this is probably going to be Dread on this Furion, I think. If he sort of goes that auto-attack Prophet, that presents you that second target that you have to deal with. And that sort of divides Batrider and Bane's attention. It means that you can't sort of keep the entire team down in one go, and I mean, it's good for a number of reasons. I'd like both the Bane and the response to the Nature's Prophet. I think these teams are drafting pretty well so far.
Yeah, it's interesting there. I mean, there's no potential for Nyx bombs or anything like that with the Nature's Prophet being them on different teams, but it still allows you to put out early aggression. You still have, I mean, yeah, you can do Nyx bombs on pretty much anybody, so Blink Initiation from Batrider will set that up nicely, but as far as the global presence there, you don't have your Wisp, you don't have your Nature's Prophet, so Lifestealer is going to be kind of rooted in whatever lane he decides to opt for. Either way, though, Nature's Prophet has a lot of potential in the early game to jump all over across the map and lend aid, whether with a Sprout or just a few auto attacks, making sure that he can actually throw down a little bit more harassment there and make the early skirmishes to be numerically advantaged. So in this situation, we can't really tell if there's going to be an aggressive tri lane or a defensive one based on the fact that we don't know the carry. We don't know what RoX wants to bring to the table, if they want to go late game and pick up something like a Faceless Void, or if they want to go early game, early pressure, and have something that can really, really fight in the little smaller scale impact things in like the early levels.
I'm interested in this Warlock ban. Blaze, what do you think about this? Do you think the VP were actually likely to pick that up?
I think that RoX is just scared of 5v5. They're scared. They want to go and do a little bit of split push play with Nature's Prophet and things along those lines, but if they're ever being pressured back the other direction, if the towers are going to be susceptible to dying down if they don't fight a confrontation, the last thing you want to deal with is a reverse polarity or a chaotic offering or even a split earth in this circumstance. It's just really they want to ban out solos and they want to ban out team fight solos. So that would be the Mag, that would be the Warlock, and then throwing just as a third ban, just kind of making sure they don't have the Leshrac Bane combo. They still could go Lina, but hard to say.
Yeah. PSA, sorry about that. I actually muted myself in Dota TV because of the meeting that I was having, so I just unmuted myself, so people didn't hear me before. But that's okay. I didn't have anything interesting to say anyway. I do like VP's bans, by the way. I think it would have been overly cute to leave, again, in the realm of things that are overly clever. I think leaving the Gyrocopter in because you have Batrider and Bane would have fallen into that category of, like, it should work in theory, but in practice you're still very likely to just die to Gyrocopter. So I like that they did Blink, they did ban out the Gyro, and two other good options in the Phantom Lance or Anti-Mage. I think these are all very strong bans, and I think VP correctly identifying that the most important thing for RoX to pick up in this second phase is a strong number one, something that's going to work for them in that respect, and taking three of the absolute strongest options for that out in that second phase.
Yeah. So what they're going to have to be looking to draft here, presumably they want to go for support first before they worry about their solo mid, or do you think they're going to change their priorities on that specifically? They can actually go for the silencers. So in this role setting,
Edge.
Wow.
I feel like they pushed on the question you just asked.
Exactly. It's just like I'm asking the exact same question. Even if I know the hero, they can run silencer a couple different ways, and he has a lot of potential in this supportive lineup because they already have the disables, they have the nightmare, they have the open wounds, so he can just add in a little bit of damage and screw people over. But also could opt for that mid lane and to just force Batrider into the jungle. So it could be a 2.5-1-1 with Silencer mid, and then Batrider finding his pretty stable and effective farm down in that route there. It weakens their lanes, but we're answering back with a Zeus. So from that perspective, I don't even know.
Alright. So okay, this is actually kind of bad for RoX. I feel like they ran the Zeus because Silencer is actually not the strongest mid laner. He's good, don't get me wrong. But Zeus would actually probably be okay against him. But Zeus is not really okay against Storm Spirit. I'm concerned for the survival of this Zeus. And if it's something like a mid Nyx, because actually, whoa. Actually, I really like mid Nyx all of a sudden. They will have to run the Zeus support, which is awful. But mana burn against this lineup that Virtus Pro suddenly ends up with is a house.
I hear what you're saying about mana burn, but they need to strengthen their lanes, and Zeus is not the guy to do that. You pick up a Spectre, you're going to have to run that Shadow Demon at Nyx. Zeus was designed to go mano-a-mano up against that Silencer, because Art Lightning wins out. But in this situation here, he's not going to be going up against the Silencer. He's going to be fighting the Storm Spirit. And I agree that Yol jumping on in as the Nyx in the mid would be better in that circumstance, but they picked up a Zeus. You have to, when you pick a Zeus, you have to deal with the fact you have a Zeus, and he's not going to be able to support, not with a Spectre.
Did they get baited a little bit, Blaze? Am I just totally wrong? Because I really feel like Zeus would have been great if the Silencer had, like, you and I were sort of like, oh, is the Silencer mid? I feel like RoX.KIS maybe asked the same question, but they answered it in a different way from the way Virtus Pro answered it.
Well,
like,
if it was,
go ahead.
Okay, well, let's say it's pretty much if they. Let's try to think about the reasoning behind the Zeus pick. If they picked it just to beat out Silencer mid, then yes, they were baited. But what about the synergy with their team? They have Haunt and they have Wrath of Nature,
that's true.
as well as the Wrath of the Thunder God's Wrath.
You're totally right.
Combining those
I forgot about
globals,
Spectre. Dude, that's some serious Globo Dodo. The huge problem is getting the the Zeus levels mid. If they do that, they're going to be in pretty insane shape. I mean, they won't be able to pick off Lifestealer, because as soon as he sort of sees problems, he can rage. But just about everybody else, Silencer is such a low, like, he has awful strength to begin with, and his strength growth is okay, but nothing special. And Storm Spirit also, like, his strength growth is actually atrocious. So the Globo Dodo is going to be no joke in terms of just blowing people up. It's a gimmick, but it's a gimmick that could work, and I like the boldness from RoX, frankly. If they win and win big, this is a 2-0 for them.
Yeah, most definitely here. But in this position, it looks like the items coming out from Solo expects anything but the Storm Spirit in lane. I don't really know what's that about, but I don't generally see Magic Stick being a great item up against the Storm. The Remnants do come out occasionally, but until he hits level 6, he's generally not spamming too hardcore.
Yeah.
Do you think Solo's going into this, like, 2 seconds from now, he'll actually realize what he's up against?
This does feel like a more anti-Silencer thing, because like 2 Clarities and Magic Stick.
Anti-Silencer, but definitely not anti-Storm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, amazing against Batrider, but like I even forgot they had a Batrider. That's a good point though. They do in fact have one. I mean, it just seemed really unlikely to me that they'd actually run the Bat mid at this point, just because I don't know. It's a tough decision to, like, what are they going to run mid, and how do you get your early items to configure that? But VP, so far, really choking off this Trilin as well with this good warding and counter warding.
Yeah, they committed the Observer. Actually, we're going to see damage on Yol, but it's a double Impale that will go on through to dissuade them from pushing out any further. They will get some damage from the last word, but it actually might have been nullified now. Either way, just pull him out with the Nightmare.
I think it actually was.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he nulled it with the first second of the Nightmare.
Wow, that's not really the best way to do that. I mean, if it was defensive, props to him, but no, it was an offensive Nightmare, and in that situation, I think, yeah, he negated the damage coming out from his own allies' last word.
And Ness can't be happy about that.
Sure. That's interesting. So, again, a Sentry Ward drops down this time in a position it should be just west enough to be able to get the camp continuously spawning, but NS drops off that last Sentry Ward and should be able to just tree cut on. No, he just can see it outright, so he will be able to clean it up here. Yeah, 2 Sentry Wards committed from both sides. It will be 3 minutes without that camp to be able to spawn. How are the other lanes doing? Like, I mean, there's a lot of action going to be on the top because they want to put pressure on Spectre, but the other situations. Last hits right now, TMW actually destroying Zeus, surprisingly. I mean, 3 and 2. The big deal is the denies. We were talking about Zeus needing to get levels off, and Storm already doing pretty well, and making sure that the bottle hasn't come out by 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he is beating him, but it's not that huge. I mean, it's just 2 denies. We're not talking like he could have 5 or 6 denies by now. But I mean, Zeus, that's the thing. He has to last hit either with the arc lightning, which pushes, or with his no good, bad, terrible auto attack. So the main thing is that Dread in the 1v1 lane, he has to play really conservatively because Bat Rider is trouble.
Open
but
wounds
as
on
a
Vons, they're going to go on
broken.
in with some open wounds damage well. Right-clicking away, they actually should be able to bring him down here.
Yeah,
they don't
he's
commit the
dead.
brain sap, but yeah, defensive disruption, the attempt to cast it actually committed his death. So NS did have Blades of Wisdom scaled after the fact, but he didn't get a couple stolen from that one there.
Yeah, good kill for them there. Kind of unfortunate for Von Score that the disruption, if he had done it maybe a second earlier, in order to not die from the ensuing last word damage, he might have been okay, but still probably in a lot of trouble there. So good first blood for VP. I think so far this aggressive Tryon is really working incredibly well. Like, Buzz is perfect, has barely any last hits on the Spectre.
Oh,
Airman's
cancel it
doing
on a bread.
amazing.
Big damage coming there. He's still going to be able to get
Ouch.
on out, but he has to go all the way back to base
Yeah.
instead of just to like a tier 1 tower or something.
It's
But
4 to
one thing
2.
I want to just mention real quick is the interaction there. You cannot disrupt a last word on yourself without taking the damage. He's going to take
Right.
the damage either way because
Yeah,
it
I
goes
just
on the
meant,
cast. But that he might not have been in the threshold where it would have one-shot him. Is what
Right.
you're saying there.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. That's a good thing to point out.
Okay.
But just the fact that they blocked this camp and the fact that they're doing so well, I think RoX.KIS are seriously falling like dramatically behind. Which, as a Spectre,
Dire's top tower is
you
under
kind of
attack.
know that it's going to happen, so you have to impute it somewhat. But I feel like they're doing even worse than they projected.
Yeah, so one thing that I never really highlighted on during the draft phase is Virtus Pro's potential for the aggressive tri-lane. Bane and Silencer don't scream aggressive tri-lane supports together. Like, they don't seem to be two heroes that really want to do that, but you got an aggressive tri-lane for the Spectre, and it's working out nicely for them. The last word damage already gone through the brain sap as well. There is the defensive disruption, but those are low HP illusions, not going to be able to do too much, and a couple more right clicks could do a lot here, but Yol did get that impale. Fed's not going to be able to juke on out, though, and he will take a fall. And it looks like Nature's Prophet didn't even come up top. He kind of said, hey, maybe I can help out. Nope, a little bit too late, and just cancels it out to keep his 1v1 action going down
Yeah.
on bottom.
They're barely taking any damage, and the problem is his Spectral Dagger ran out like a second too early, so he couldn't just hide inside of the trees for another second. Not that that would necessarily have saved him, I just feel like this tri-lane's getting completely overwhelmed. The Spectre, the Global Dodo, like, it's good if you can get there, but right now there's not really that much indication that they're going to get there without at least being severely bruised and battered by that point.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if there's actually potential for Silencer to do get so many kills on a Spectre that you can run him out of enough mana to have Spectral Dagger as a cast.
Leak.
Because like he already has terrible base intellect. That's one of the
Sure.
Spectre's biggest weaknesses is not being able to spam out spells at all. You have 17 intellect right now, and you can drain it enough. I mean, it costs every time you rank it, so on and so forth. On mid, a lot of damage coming out. Solo won't be able to get this kill just yet. Getting outranged by that ball lightning. KMW popping off regen. Will be able to close on in, and actually the tower damage and the slow. There wasn't even the need for the Bane, but he came on in to help nevertheless.
He copped so many tower hits there. Solo chasing that was a really bad idea. You can't play YOLO Zeus the way you can play YOLO Bat Rider, at least not this early. But it's in trouble top, by the way.
Yeah, actually, last word's going to do a lot of damage here. Nice defensive disruption, but it won't actually negate the damage to Biz's silence, and now can't really stand and fight. There is also going to be that damage coming out on Vons. He's probably going to take a fall with his last right click, indeed he does. Salve came out from Spectre, but he's closed on in. A single Nightmare could put them in a position to finish it off, but no, just the right clicks, just the nukes. But Spectral daggering into the trees, he does get out. Kind of a mistake for Arzert not to have Nightmared right there to get a better position on him. Or
Yeah.
just Brain Sap. I mean, I guess that would have summed it up pretty nicely as
They're
well.
okay. I mean, they got the kill on Von Score. Buzz now has to use his, he actually doesn't even have a healing self. He's walking back, so.
Yeah, even
They
so.
won this. It's effectively a kill.
I guess. I guess you can put it that way. I mean, he will have the TP up front. He loses the 135 gold that way. So, yeah, it does definitely cost him. But I still think if every time a Spectre lives is still one time too many. So,
Wow, Blaze.
Well-
If I'd known you felt this strongly.
no, I love Spectre as a late game hero, but the pressure you have to put out to avoid that is by killing her at every single opportunity. 100%. One big mistake people, when they play against Lotus Spectre, when he plays on No Tidehunter, is the fact, actually, big damage coming out. Storm wasn't able to ball lightning out of the Wrath, and so Solo was able to get a solo kill on the Storm Spirit. But to finish that thought, one mistake that people, when they're playing up against Loda's Spectre, is they don't aggressive tri-lane against it. They 1 versus 3 or 0 versus 3
Solo.
and let it free farm away. I like
mid.
that they're putting pressure up. Oh, Solo dropping down pretty quickly, but there's actually a lot of reinforcements putting Lifesteal in a bad spot. If Nature's Prophet had come on in, they would have been able to put out a lot of pressure because he has no tree cutters. But instead, they just kind of let things lie as they are, and Zeus will be able to walk away.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. You need to, if you are keeping Spectre alive, it's definitely a good position for you. But this is a Spectre that has 8 last hits at 7 minutes. Now, we've seen people come back from this. It is possible. And when you pick a Spectre, you sort of know they're going to aggressively tri-lane against you, almost certainly, no matter what their tri-lane is. So do your best to live through it. But I still feel like Buzz, I mean, he doesn't even have boots. He doesn't even have the mana, the money for boots, and he's going to have trouble actually living
Yeah,
here.
Illidan dropping down, he's raged out, avoids all that damage, the Brain Sap immediately striking first to bring him down. Now, there is a good Sprout catching out Sergey. He already got dropped hard by that Zeus, and he might drop here, but no, the Nightmare, there's the left right click coming out from Vons on the western end. Here is KSI and Biz dropping down that ulti, needs to hit on Biz. He will be getting it here and bringing him right back into the meat grinder, but there is that defensive disruption. Good position there. Zeus duking it out with Illidan. Those paltry right clicks not doing enough as Storm jumps on in to clean it up onto Vons. Score. Nice action from KSI as well, cleaning house, and Biz will fall as well. They do actually get the kill on the lifesteal in the end, but definitely not worth it for how much they lost.
Not worth it by any calculation. I mean, no matter how tortured your calculations of that were, there was no way that was worth it for them. I mean, the aggressive tri-lane is a total of 3 levels across 3 heroes ahead of the safe lane tri-lane. That's not supposed to happen. It can happen, but it's not supposed to happen. Trouble actually mid.
Yeah.
Oh,
they messed up
really
the Wrath with the disruption, so there is the ball laying out. TMW will survive. He was soul catchered up, but he has a haste rune and the Thunder God's Wrath not connecting. Illidan doing a lot of damage here, trying to bring down Yol. 2 more right clicks required, and he only gets 1. Now Solo coming on in, does lightning down a creep for some nice easy farm, but without Tranquil Boots, it's going to cost him long term unless he picks up a rune, which I believe was actually picked up by the Nyx Assassin, or no, the TMW himself. So with that, real quick commentary: Tranquil Boots on Zeus.
Gives him Zeus. If you're taking any hits at all, you're probably dead.
Sure.
And it helps him keep away, and it's really efficient money wise. I actually like the Trank Boots pickup. It's cheaper than Arcane Boots too, honestly.
I think
the big thing is
it's
the
good,
Thunder
but...
God's Wrath. I mean, oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, that play there.
How did they miss that? Yeah, they needed that. I guess they didn't need the TMW kill, but it certainly wouldn't hurt. I mean, look how behind they are, honestly. This is going to be a big trough to climb through at 9 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very, very far behind, and a TMW kill would do amazing things for them, but timing it with the disruption and the ball lightning was difficult, but just pretty much dropped it on the one thing that guaranteed couldn't help them out at all. And so it was very, very painful indeed.
It's not even like it was close. Like, he did it right at the beginning of the disruption. It was just a miscommunication. Buzz is perfect. Is dead again. Nice Fiend's Grip.
Yeah, Fiend's Grip committing that down, getting time for TMW to jump on in, get some damage in. Defensive disruption, though, means that Von Score will drop down as well. I think he probably should have gone for an offensive one. That would have been his only hope if he had any chance at all of escaping.
Oh, so you're that pub guy. Why'd you disrupt yourself, dude?
Oh, exactly, yeah. Flame hard, flame hard. But yeah, no, in this situation, just not too much you could do either way. They committed 4 people up top, they get the tier 1, and this is Virtus Pro really changing up their style. They want to be the aggressors, they want to be here to really, really claim what they feel is rightfully theirs, and they're getting kills left and right in top lane, and now no safe place for Spectre the Farm with the tier 1 up top, drop down. It looks like Biz is even heading for mid.
Yeah, I mean, top is not in any way safe. They have wards, they have some vision, but just like, you can't come near this, even the Silencer Bane, the 2 of them. This last word does incredible damage right now, and NS, I mean, he already has 8 stacks of glaives, like, as a support silencer.
Yeah, very difficult. Spectre using her rank 3 Spectral Dagger to try to farm away, but as I was saying, losing out mana like that, it costs a lot. Right now, running 19 Intellect is 150 mana nuke, so that is pretty much right there. What is it? I'm good 5th of its mana pool. So
gets 1.
Yeah.
So let's hope that it's useful. Like, using it to farm is actually kind of like because you might need it in the next hour or so, and you won't have the mana for another minute and a half. I don't know. It's tough for RoX.KIS. I mean, they have to sort of find some safe farm for the Spectre. I don't think they can just assume away the Spectre. How's Dread's farm? I mean, it's really not great, honestly. It's
Not
the
a
best
big
on
deal.
his team, but
Solo
like
drops
not
down,
good.
some damage onto Illidan. They just, global signs coming out means that they can't do anything here. Not even a disruption to keep him alive, and they do finally pop it off, but they also get the Impale off from Nyx. Trying to bring down KSI. He should fall the tower hits, but also Solo dropping so darn low. Illidan right-clicking down onto Shadow Demon, but gets caught out in the Sprout. Again, no tree cutters, no Quelling Blade, and he has to infest on a creep, which is nowhere nearby. So I gotta say, one thing that, I mean, they're doing a lot of things right, but one thing they're doing wrong, with Lifestealer not picking up a Quelling Blade, he can just get kited so darn hard, and we actually see a couple of missed opportunities as a result of that.
Yep, you're right. He did pretty much get kited there. You also, did you really say that Solo got so low? Because shame on you.
I hope not. I really hope not. It might have been a slip of the tongue, but, nevertheless.
At any rate, a decent escape from Buzz there. He knew that Arsar was coming in with Fiend's Grip, and he just Spectral Daggered into the trees. So he used his one Spectral Dagger wisely, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
But honestly, yeah, that was a bad trade for VP. They can afford to make like 4 more of those before it's actually a problem for them. But definitely not the greatest. I would like to see Quelling. I agree with you. Oh, there it is. It's up on him.
Yeah, a little too late in my opinion, but either way.
Well, it is too late, but I don't know if it's too little. Like,
Yeah,
it'll
it's
be
still
good.
very relevant, still a good move. It's just,
Solo.
it's cost him already with 2 different sprouts. Either way,
Sure.
we do see here the disruption on Solo keeps him alive. I wanted to go for the Fiend's Grip, but too many TPs coming on in dissuades him from that aggression, but not for KSI. Not enough for him. He's going to Flame Break them back. Bonds in a terrible spot right here with all that lasso, and that Ball Lightning to clean it up very, very nicely. Looks like Team W is building up that Orchid. Will be great against the opposition, but with this open wound, they're actually going to be able to bring down Solo as well. So they just clean house. Very, very smooth moves. And yeah, this is pretty much this situation where you have so many heroes that can be dropped down so quickly. Even looking for more here, they could technically go for Yul, but it does get that mana burn off, limiting Team W's potential.
Biz is
The Fiend's
perfect.
Grip on
He's
Biz. There's no way for him to get out of here. KSI just saying hello, jumping on in, and shooting some fire on
They
out.
still have the lasso. Like, it's still up, and he still has Blink. He could just come in and lasso somebody here. Oh,
Disruption
Lordy.
onto Yul. He has the Carapace. Not going to commit to it here because they just want to. Actually, there's no reason for it, but they have to defend this tier 2, and they have to try to pull something together to make this happen. But
It's bleak, man.
It's-
Uh-oh.
it's
Who's
so
putting
rough.
in here?
Solo comes on in. He does do a lot of
Nice.
damage, dropping down Sergei down to 80 HP, coming on into Sprout, connects the
Good
Haunt
Sprout.
as well. He does get a Brain Sap off almost, but Biz is perfect. Will be able to clean on it through, and because he ultied from Fountain, he actually has mana for a dagger, so he could actually pursue on further. But KSI just a little bit too quick with the non-collision and the Blink Dagger to keep him moving on through.
Sure. And during that entire time, I mean, you build towards the mechanism on Silencer. This gives them even more, when this is done, which will take a little while, but he's moving towards it. This will give them even more survivability in these sort of fights, which they already are taking. I mean, VP are diving harder and harder, and RoX.KIS just don't seem to have any sort of response capable of it. I mean, Zeus is doing pretty well. He's level 10. How does he stack up? Yeah, he stacks up with the top people on the map, but I just feel like the ability of the Storm Spirit, Bat Rider, and even Lifestealer, either with Infest or without it. Oh, he's actually in somebody right now. Where is he?
So, yeah,
Where's that Lifestealer?
he is
Oh, he's in the
investing inside
invisible KSI.
He's smoked
Ruh-roh.
up. He's actually coming into a position where Shadow Demon was farming up some neutrals, dropped really, really low. Vons is fine for now, but they definitely have to watch themselves here because this could be pretty bad. Blinking on in, they had full vision. Yul doesn't get that Carapace off. Too fast of a lasso, and they get their pick once more. And now the jungle is theirs. They get 1 kill, and suddenly they can go in wherever they want. And TMW taking that opportunity to ball lighting in and finish off Business Perfect right here and now. So just too much for them to handle. And another thing to mention is they pitch a Spectre into a Bat Rider. The Firefly will give vision over that Spectral Dagger trail and of the hero herself, even if she's juking into trees. So with that, it's really, really difficult to avoid. And I think with the Bat Rider giving the vision and the breaking of the trees that the Ball of Lightning provides, they pretty much have no concern about Spectre getting away in that circumstance.
Absolutely. Once Bat Rider and Storm Spirit are doing well at all, Storm Spirit's Spectre's greatest escape asset, which actually is not Haunt, because if your Spectre's not doing that well, no matter who you haunt onto, they will just kill you, and usually they're in the same place. Like, the higher level you get, the worse Haunt is as an escape tool, but the better it is as an initiation tool. They finally bring down the KSI, but this is immaterial, really, because Spectre didn't even participate in this kill.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's a good pick. It's still something they need to keep on endeavoring for, but we're not really feeling the Nyx. Like, that was like his first real major Vendetta gank, and, it's in next to his own tier 2.
Sure. Yeah, no, you're definitely right. But I think the stronger point that you had was the fact that with Ball Lightning and Firefly, they can always see and chase down the Spectre. Like, it's not a problem at all. In fact, the Spectre, I think they got seduced by the allure of Globo Dodo, and, like, didn't really think about how they'd lane the Spectre, because the laning didn't work at all. Like, at all. Spectre's just now at like 36 last hits, which...
I mean, I don't know. I think that they should have won that lane. They have a Shadow Demon and a Nyx versus a Silencer and a Bane. I feel that that's just a matchup that they could have easily taken down, but they played it in a position they couldn't handle. We do see Bread on mid getting focused down with that infested TMW, rolling on through, getting off on solo, and Bread won't be able to TP away either. So, yeah, a couple kills picked off, and the tier 2 as well.
The thing about how you phrase that, Blaze, is why I think you think that way, because... Yes, I agree. If somebody told you, for instance, if somebody told you that 2 lanes both containing Gyrocopter, the other heroes are Bane and Silencer versus Shadow Demon and Nyx, who wins? Most people will be like, yeah, the Shadow Demon Nyx. But the thing is, it's not Gyrocopter versus Gyrocopter. It's Lifestealer versus Spectre. One of the best sort of level 1 through 3 carries for team fighting, and one of the worst level 1 through 3 carries for team fighting.
True. It was a little deep. They were trying to line their pockets a little bit too much by picking up that late game potential, and in this situation it definitely didn't work out. They had the support foundation, but the supports would have to use their utilities extremely well. They were pretty much was everything on their shoulders, because Spectre can't do crap. Carapace does come out on a Yule. He should fall here. Global Silence to make sure, but no, actually there was no Global Silence, so I got that wrong for some reason. Either way, there is Haunt, a lot of damage. Thunder God's Wrath already popped off. TMW dropping low, but yeah, they're going to be able to bring down Solo if they can just get one more right click, but Illidan having to fall back from here, no such luck. Now it's just kind of them falling back from here, because Virtus Pro has control of their position with Blink Daggers, with Ball Lightning. They can go in and out as they please.
Mech was the fact that they finished Mech on NS, and the fact that he has gotten good farm and is 2-1-5. Actually, Mech completely saved them there. They'd be so low from that Thunder God's Wrath if it weren't for that mechanism. And as a result, they just got basically most of the damage of the Thunder God's Wrath was compensated for by the Mech, and they could keep they could make an orderly retreat basically without any deaths.
And so yeah, that Global Dota not really paying off here. It was only a rank 1 Wrath of Nature, rank 1 Haunt, and Wrath popped off as well. So all 3 of those did come on out. But it wasn't able to really accomplish too much, because the simple mechanism brought them back up where they were still had a great fighting chance in the fight, and they could pretty much do as they pleased from there. So they have the Global Silence coming up in just a few seconds here. It was on cooldown for that engagement, but now they have it once more, and that makes it so they can pretty much take any fight.
Yeah, I think VP are feeling very good, and they're just going to keep the pressure on. I mean, they know that you sort of want to step on the pedals when you're facing a Spectre, and she has even the possibility of coming back, which still does, but could somehow find the safe farm. He has improved his farming rate substantially. Like, he's gotten about 24 last hits since last time we talked about it, which is about 4-ish minutes ago. So that's substantially better than he was doing, but it's still nothing special. I mean, he still needs a lot more. Ouch. You alright there, buddy?
It was like a role play of those two going at it. We do see actually TMW going in over his head. He might get the kill on Bonds. The Orchid will do it. He actually survives, even with the dagger trailing on through.
Oh,
Will survived. Back and forth. Biz actually trying to close the distance. One more right click. He's probably going to go for it no matter whether or not it's feasible. One more right click is all he needs, but he's not going to find it. The Wrath of Nature finally does come out. But I gotta say, what was going on there was like a role play of those two heroes. Like, in essence, Zeus is just like causing a racket. He's just like, Thunder God's Wrath, cancel, do it over and over, and then immediately he's like, shut up, silence comes out.
Oh, was he RSRS?
Yeah, he was RSRSing on the Zeus, and then immediately NS silences it. No strategic value to that, but it was hilarious. Oh,
well, that pretty much sums up, on its worst days, I feel like that sums up the Russian scene, right? No strategic value, but it's hilarious.
Exactly. There you go.
Actually, while that fight happened, they actually got a big, Bat Rider was, I think, Invis, or he did the Invis TP thing, and he had Illidan inside of him, and they got 2 extremely easy kills on both Dread and Yol at the bottom. So, no joke there either. The counter push completely stymied. In fact, RoX.KIS barely made a dent in this tower. And when you have a Nature's Prophet and he's barely able to dent the tier 1 tower, you know life isn't that good. You know that you're being baked, as it were.
Yeah, most definitely. They're pretty much laying the groundwork to take this to game 3 most definitely here, because Virtus Pro they've taken down everything but the last tier 2 on top, and they're actually making a move on that as we speak. So in this position here, RoX, they just have to turtle as hard as possible, but Spectre's only sitting on 1,500. She has drums, she has tranquils, and that's all she has to show for all this time, put in 21 minutes in. I'm not expecting a Radiance, I'm just expecting some kind of durability, something where she can get in and do some damage here. Diffusal Blade is actually, if we're talking about global Dota, Diffusal Blade is the best item, damage per gold, to enhance the damage of her Haunt. And that's definitely something that she could be looking into, but she's still very, very squishy at only 1k HP.
Yeah, I mean, probably Diffusal, yeah, but I don't know how much that's going to be useful. I like the fact, I mean, if you're going to do this strategy, you should commit to it. And so the fact that Bread, you've got me doing it now too, is going to go for that Aghanim Scepter, I mean, that's kind of what you have to do. You need more damage on these global skills to actually do it. Maybe with Diffusal and Thunder God's Wrath level 2, he's making Mechanism 2, probably, he's making Aghanims 2, probably. It could be Force Staff. But probably it's Mechanism. Oh my god, they're going to catch Yul again.
Yeah, going on in. Yul already used his Carapace, orchid it up, and there's the Infest to clean it on through. So, good movement there. They got the gank. They even had the incoming flank with KSI on that Batrider, but...
So clean.
Yeah, just always prepared, always making sure that they can go the extra mile so that, in the worst case, they can still make sure that it all gets locked down nicely, and this secures them the opportunity for Roshan. I mean, yeah, there's the globals that will come out, and that will be frustrating to deal with a little bit of extra damage, but like you said, they have the mechanism, and they're prepared to really just tank this one up.
Yep. I just think that they're really... I kind of feel like RoX.KIS made VP's game 1 mistake, like, 10% too clever, like... Maybe they could have made the Spectre work, although I actually kind of don't think so when there's already like Lifestealer and stuff on the field. And Silencer is no joke against Spectre either, because she can't Spectral.
Lifestealer has to watch his health here. As soon as Rage expires, he can armlet toggle, but he's definitely has a chance to be just hit up by anything. Literally, Spectre or Zeus can just hit their buttons and suddenly Illidan dies.
Yeah, but they don't know to. Like, they don't have that great vision or anything.
They had this dire ward. It was close. It wasn't enough. But, I don't know. I think
I agree. I mean, might as well pick him off. Why the heck not? But even Thunder God's Wrath probably would do it. Maybe they think they're going to need the next one soon enough that they didn't want to actually expend any of that stuff. But Wrath of Nature, yeah, probably Wrath of Nature could have done it.
Well, you need vision for that one there, so the timing of that was very limited.
Well, I mean, if they have vision, then they might as well use the thing that requires vision. And if they don't have vision, then how are they going to know to actually pick him off? Sorry, that came out way more riddle-like than I intended.
Sure enough, sure.
We're getting a little zen in here, but it's just because this game is a little bit one-sided, honestly.
Yeah, it's a little bit wonky, but, you know, as one-sided as it may be, a game against Spectre is not going to be over. Until it literally is. I said that about the last game because it was a lineup of 4 carry/semi-carries. In this situation, it's just Spectre is just too darn scalable to count her out. Her farm is atrocious. She needs to get some big items. But if she is given the room to do that, she'll carry out every single member of VP.
I agree that it's not over.
Initiation going on in. They actually focus down the Bane pretty hardcore here. The Fiend Script's still doing a lot on solo. The Global Silence makes it so they cannot do anything to interrupt here, but it has expired, and now they can at least finish off the Bane. Lasso coming on through to bring down Solo, but they do defensively disrupt. He'll die to the Firefly, nevertheless, and look to clean up on everybody remaining. Vonk score falls. They're looking for finishing off on Bread. He doesn't get the TP out because TMW kept his Vortex alive, and that was really, really good maneuver by him. Does Illidan really want this? I think he does. There
I think he does.
Lasso the flame break, but here comes the mix to make sure that that is not going to be an option for them.
Fine. 3 for 1. You get the Prophet and the Zeus. Delay them off of there. Actually, Aghanim Scepter, Bread does have it, but no, he does end up... Solo does end up getting the Force Staff. Definitely a smarter pickup than Ags would have been, but I just don't know. I mean, I agree, Blaze, it's not over until the Purple Lady plays her game over vocal cue, but it's pretty close to that point.
Sure. We are pushing down on the tier 3 here. The Aegis is still available for TMW. Surprisingly went on the Storm Spirit, but I can see its benefit there with a full health and mana bar available, so a lot of potential. And they are actually just battering down the tier 3 as only 3 or 4 individuals, bringing it down to below half HP. So definitely something to take to the bank.
Sure. They could just keep going, I feel like. They don't necessarily need to, and it looks like they don't actually want to. But they could push through, no problem. Ultimate cooldowns are... You kind of have to rely, like, these ultimate cooldowns are short enough that they're probably going to be up in time, but they, I don't know, I'm not sure it matters.
Lasso and Nightmare, but it's enough to bring down Yul before the Carapace can come out, and that's the intention here. Orchid even just to secure it, but he did get the Carapace before that Orchid, so he will die, but he does get some stuns out, delaying some damage. Either way, Shadow Demon does take a fall. TMW actually going underneath the tower despite his low life. Aegis just makes him so confident, and he's going to go on in, but he has to kind of watch himself here because there is a lot of tower damage coming on through, and it looks like he's willing to commit his Aegis this early on, which doesn't seem necessary, doesn't seem forced, but, you know, it's not going to cost him that much either way.
If they buy a set of Rex for this Aegis, it's worth it, in my opinion. And they probably can. Like, he still has it. He's actually had it for a pretty long time, considering they've been inside RoX.KIS's base this whole time.
Yeah.
Diffuser coming up for Spectre,
coming on through from the back end. Yold right up in it. They do pop off all their globals going on through TMW. BKBs before the Aegis pops, but it's enough to keep them alive here. They also silence right back in there, and Illidan duking it out with Solo. He is mini-stunned, but the slow keeps him on target here. Biz doing a lot of damage on the back line. Does get a double kill for herself, but immediately falls after the fact. Now both teams falling back from this position here. Solo wants a piece of Arzart, but really just actually going to disconnect on out.
They have so much gold. I mean, that was the classic. KSI actually dies, buys back, buys Boots of Travel, TPs back in. I mean, when that sort of thing happens, I think he actually had the boots. Never mind, he had the boots, but still, I mean, this is an 11-3-9 Bat Rider. It's just, it's difficult. The one nice thing for RoX there actually was, okay, you have Arsart who can Fiend's Grip you and be BKB'd, and there's absolutely nothing your entire team can do about it. But you can disruption his grip target, so that was good by Von Score there to actually save. I think it was Buzz at the time who was actually Fiend's Grip, so good play there, because as long as the target is not Magic Beam, you can disrupt them to break up the Fiend's Grip. But it's just not enough. I mean, those cutesy like one-on-one plays that get you a small advantage are good when all you need is a small advantage to win, but in this case they need much. Maybe they need the magic inherent in this. Do you see this grove of trees here? Glowing faintly with like fairy creatures. This is amazing.
Wow, that is definitely something they could alert the Wicca crew, because there's some rituals that can be performed there. Maybe we'll be able to pull them out of this position here. But
I think so, man. The spirits of nature are going to. The problem is you can't when you're calling upon the spirits of nature as dire, they're less strong because obviously dire. They don't like nature.
You know, using it to their will though, it might work out.
Sure. I don't know. I just feel like the dryads will not quite be enough.
Yeah,
I don't know. Do you ever play?
There's not too much Sproink in that one there.
Yeah, exactly. Do you ever play Fall from Heaven 2, the Civilization mod?
I have not. I've played
Dude,
Civilization in all its respects, but not the mod.
Dude, it's legit. It's good. You should try it.
What does that have to do with this?
Mostly nothing. I think it has Dryad units. I think that was the connection that my memory.
Viewers appreciate your Dryad-esque segue into a completely different game. Anyways, the pause goes on a little bit more extended. Solo is still DC.
He's hanging, is what they said.
Gotcha.
They're trolling at this point.
Figures. When are they not is a better question there. But anyways, as the game goes on forward, we do see a buyback has been expended by both the Bat Rider and the Silencer here, so they are going to have to commit a little bit more gold for their aggression early on, but they want to keep this action going. They want to take these racks. That's what it's all about here. And since the Storm Spirit does have Aegis, and they have all 5 making their way towards this mid area, with Spectre down for 42 seconds and all those global ultis also unavailable, do you think they can take these racks here now?
Is this a trick question, Blaze? No, I mean, yes, they can take it. They've got what it takes. All 3 of these heroes just have enormous net worth advantages over even Bread, and Bread's net worth is mostly concentrated in this one item. Like, look at this guy. He's got Midas, Tier 1 boots, and Aghanim Scepter. And so, like, yeah, sure, if you get that, like, ult combo, you win, but other than that, and he has 50 seconds left on the ultimate, so they don't even need to. The only thing that this Nature's Prophet is good for, Virtus Pro don't need to worry about for 50 seconds.
Well, in all fairness, all he needs is his money scepter to go in his money hand, and then he's all set to farm away and become the hard carry of this game. So,
sure.
Really, nothing really. We actually see another DC coming out from Business Perfect, so this is a little unfortunate for them. But yeah.
I just caught up with the chat. There's another discourse on tactical pausing, of course. That is sort of the... I don't think that joke is ever going to go away.
Never. Merlini, what have you done? But
yeah. Wow, VP are really actually BMing pretty hard here. KSI said, don't lie, it's all a tactical pause from Puppy. And then NS said, my left mouse button isn't working.
What?
So mad refs here. Mad references.
There we go. Alrighty, so still plenty of time ticking on away while we wait for this pause to expire here. But in this position here, one thing I want to highlight, we've been talking about a lot of the fact that the carries haven't been finding their farm. Spectre only on 7,300 net worth, and the 7,900 net worth of the Nature's Prophet. But what about these supports? They are like kind of down in the dirt right now with the fact that Nyx Assassin has no gold stored up and only a Bracer Magic Wand to keep him alive. His Carapace is only rank 2, so he hasn't been finding the experience. It kind of feels like in this position, at best, he can get a stun off on a couple people. In most situations, it's going to be him being completely irrelevant. A single Orchid nullifies his existence completely.
Yeah, I mean, look, at least he's got a Bracer. Look towards poor Vanscore. Like, you know, last game when Vanscore like didn't die on Shadow Demon until like 35 minutes in. This is the opposite of that.
Yeah. And one thing that was impressive about his Game 1 performance is he didn't even have a Force Staff or anything like that. He had a couple of good durability items, but he didn't really have anything amazing. It was all about positioning, all about skill, and that's something he still brings to the table as he can continuously spam out his Shadow Poison and things like that to try to counter-push in this extended, prolonged fight here. But like you said, it doesn't seem to be anything they can possibly deal with in this circumstance here. They'll try with these Treants. He's actually... Now that I see it at a different angle, he's actually like poking the trees, trying to get them to do his bidding. But we do finally see it coming on through. KSI jumping on in, has that gem, has that Force Staff, but gets disrupted up in turn. So finally,
the thing is, like, the thing with Vanscore here is not only, I mean, it's not a question of positioning. It's more a question of like how is he able to sustain and who can keep people off him. Like in last game, Buzz could actually, if you got close to Vanscore, he could be like, you know, don't pick on my buddy.
Okay, KSI last swing in on solo. This is going to be some easy right click coming on through. They do again. Orchid, the Nyx Assassin. He's also last worded. 2 right clicks is enough to bring him down because of the damage from Silencer. But TMW also going to lose his Aegis here. Brings down Shadow Demon with him though, and now the racks have fallen. Denied actually by Nature's Prophet, who said screw it, we're going to lose him anyways. But here we do see TMW jumping on in to make him pay for it. Bread gonna drop down. Money Staff and Love not doing too much for him here. So the range rack's gonna fall as well. And do you think they're gonna go for more? The buybacks came out, and I think that kind of might spell otherwise. But we do see
he can't do anything.
Big damage from Illidan. The BKB pops off from Bane, but he doesn't really have much mana to work with here.
Yeah, he doesn't actually have the mana for the Fiend Strip. Neither team has much in the way of
Solo
arcane
dropping fast, big Orchid, big damage. The defensive disruption actually might keep him up here, but he doesn't have his Force Staff off cooldown, and he will take a fall. TMW stunning out onto Yol, finishing him off as well. The Carapace doing some work, but not enough to bring down anybody else. Lasso back off cooldown, bringing down Bread after he's already bought back. And this could possibly be it. They go for the final TP. They just want to get the dispersion damage on TMW, but no such luck. Everybody goes in, everybody dies as a team, and that's going to be it.
Give the Spectre a break. Like, let her have a little morsel on, taste that Storm Spirit a little bit. Not even letting them kill TMW was just, in my opinion, adding insult to injury. I mean, I wanted to quickly, when we were talking about Vanscore, I wanted to quickly call attention to something you brought up earlier, which you said, the Tranquils on the Zeus. I mean, this is a team that's really mana heavy, and how many Arcane Boots do they have? Zero.
That is a very, very good point. It adds up to, I mean, the fact that Zeus himself doesn't have it, forced him to pretty much rely entirely on his base intellect, and albeit they do spend a lot of time in Fountain, considering the score is 41 and 12, it's still, Arcane Boots would definitely benefit them quite a bit, and actually getting a lot of spells off, especially at going for a Shadow Poison build.
Right. I mean, if they want a turtle, they need this Shadow Demon to be constantly spamming out these poisons, and he has the mana for 9. And that's assuming he, you know, doesn't care about all these other trash abilities like Demonic Purge and Disruption. Who wants to cast those? I don't know. It's tough. Tough situation for them there. They're gonna have a man fight. He says go to Illidan, so Illidan would go on him. That's pretty funny. I mean, at the point that Lifestealer hits heart, like, your entire strategy is just sort of shrugged away.
Okay, winner take all, 1v1, let's go. Here goes. Spectre does get the defusal off onto Lifesteal. He's duking out with the illusion, going on through back and forth. Big damage coming out from this Desolate. Illidan getting closed in from the Spectral Dagger. Can he be dropped down? Has that arm, has the heart, too much damage coming back in the other direction. Biz does not want to engage on a direct confrontation here. Duking it out, going on through. Rage pops off, but is able to defusal out of that open wounds. Will be able to survive. Now right-clicking away, but Biz is perfect. Will be able to keep on away. Just playing keep away, but now getting too much damage coming on forward. I don't even know what I'm doing. There's the offense. Oh, big plays. Virtus Pro takes it down with Illidan soloing out the, you know, lowly level 13 Spectre.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
There we go.
Oh man, that infest. That was some... Who needs Fistful of Tangos, man? That was Fistful of Tangos right there. Pretty classic solo mid matchup, Lifestealer versus Spectre. Pretty normal.
We need a different 1v1. It's not 1v1 solo mid, it's 1v1 carries that have, like, very, very skewed
You can do that.
net worth values.
Just don't set it to not spawn the creeps, and just give both players like 10k gold, and just go for it. They wouldn't be able to catch each other usually, because carries don't have disables, so it would actually be pretty boring now that I think about it.
There's a lot of boring aspects to it, and then as far as the metagame and strategy, it would all be about who gets the butterfly and who gets the MKB.
Yeah. So actually Clockwork would be amazing, because you can scout what the other guy bought.
Well, so there we go. Finally, after a major segue into absolutely nothing, we do see finally the Ancient Falls. Nobody decided to disconnect on out, but RoX.KIS will lose on out of this Game 2. Looking at Game 3 here, RoX.KIS had a very strong showing in Game 1. I'm very confident what they can put into Game 3, but Game 2 very much went the way of Virtus.Pro. Do you think it was all about that Spectre pickup, or was it just them not being on the same wavelength with a lot of their skills?
Let's leave some space for the Zeus, too. I mean, I get their composition. Like, it's pretty... I didn't get it initially. You were actually the one who pointed it out to me, but, like, I understand what they were going for. I don't know. You can only get so gimmicky. I do think that they mostly... It was partially execution, but I think a big part of it was overall strategy. Like, they just didn't really leave themselves the space or the lanes. The laning was just, like... Nature's Prophet lost lane hard to Batrider. Zeus lost lane hard-ish to Storm Spirit. And they lost the tri-lane. Like, when you need items to make your thing work, and you lose every lane in which you have somebody who needs items... I mean,
yeah,
speaks for itself, really.
Gonna have those issues, most definitely. So this is it for Game 2. Virtus.Pro takes their first win of this matchup here to move on into Game 3 of this best-of-3 series. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that there. Beyond that, I myself am Blaze. You can follow me on twitter.com/blazecasting. Otherwise, where can they find you, Vic?
You can find playing Fall from Heaven. No, Twitch, YouTube, Vickermond.com, VYKROMOND. If you Google it, you'll find me. All right, let's move up to Game 3.
Cool. Game 3 in just a few minutes, guys. Thanks for tuning in.